AITA for asking my husband not to go on a trip with a flirty woman and feeling betrayed when he went anyway. I'm 32F, and I've been married to my husband, Joe, 34M, for 8 years, together for 10. Over the years, our relationship has been built on trust, open communication, and a mutual understanding of how much we value each other. We've always believed in prioritizing each other's emotional well-being, and our relationship has been solid, or at least that's what I thought. Our marriage has been through many challenges, but we always came out stronger, so I truly believe that we could handle anything that came our way. Joe and I work together in a business we started a few years ago. It's not always easy working with your spouse, but we found a way to make it work. Running a business together has definitely tested our relationship at times, but it's also brought us closer. Financially, we're doing well. We've worked hard to get where we are, and we both have a vision for the future. We've always been in sync when it comes to life goals, until now. About a few months ago, Joe's father got us involved in a major business opportunity. It was a huge deal, a government contract that could change everything for us. It's a long-term project, and several companies are teaming up for the bid. Joe and I were both excited about it, especially since this could take our business to a new level. But there was one major complication. One of the companies we were teaming up with is led by a woman, Sarah, who is, well, let's just say very attractive and incredibly flirtatious. I first met Sarah at one of the early meetings for the bid. She was confident, charismatic, and just overall charming. At first, I didn't think much of it. After all, she was a professional CEO, and I assumed she'd be focused on business. But as the meetings continued, I started to notice how she acted around Joe. She would smile at him a little too often, laugh a little too loudly at his jokes, and even make comments that, to me, seemed a bit inappropriate for a business setting. I mentioned it to Joe a few times, but he would always brush it off, saying she was just being friendly. But I could tell something was off. I wasn't the only one who noticed it. Joe also mentioned that he felt uncomfortable with her attention, but didn't want to make a big deal out of it. We both agreed to focus on the bid and put any personal discomfort aside for the sake of our business. Still, I couldn't shake the feeling that Sarah's behavior was becoming more and more blatant. And then came the moment that made everything spiral out of control. One afternoon during a break at a meeting, Sarah approached Joe while I was talking to someone else. I overheard her say something that made my blood run cold. She touched Joe's arm and said, "If I had a husband like you, I'd never leave his side. You're the kind of man every woman wants, but sometimes that's not enough. Someone else might steal your mind." I was in shock. I could feel the jealousy and frustration building up in me, and I couldn't stay quiet. Without thinking, I snapped, "I'm not following him around. He never leaves my side." Sarah quickly laughed it off, pretending it was just a joke. But I saw the look in her eyes, and anyone who's been in a similar situation knows that look. It wasn't just playful banter. She was making a move, and I knew it. Joe, on the other hand, didn't react strongly. He smiled awkwardly and changed the subject. Later that day, I pulled him aside to talk about it. I explained how uncomfortable I was with Sarah's comments and how it felt like she was crossing a line. Joe admitted that he felt uncomfortable too, but he didn't want to make things awkward or jeopardize the deal, so he didn't say anything. I wasn't thrilled with his response, but I tried to understand. I knew that this bid was important to both of us, but I also felt that he wasn't taking my feelings seriously enough. We had always communicated well, and it hurt me that he wasn't standing up to Sarah, especially after everything she had said. But we decided to move forward, focusing on the contract and hoping the situation would improve. Little did I know, it was only going to get worse. Fast forward to the day I found out about the site visit. It was a 3-day trip related to the bid, a trip that Sarah had specifically requested. Only 5 people were going, and Joe was one of them. When I found out, I was devastated. I felt like I was being excluded, but what hurt even more was the fact that Sarah had orchestrated it. She wanted Joe there, and I wasn't invited. My first reaction was disbelief. Why would they leave me out of something so important, especially when Joe and I had always worked together as a team? But when I confronted Joe, he said he thought it was just the way the trip was organized, and he didn't think anything of it. But I wasn't going to let it go that easily. I told him how hurt I was by the situation. I told him that I didn't want him to go, that I felt incredibly uncomfortable with the whole thing. I begged him to stay behind. I even told him that the deal wasn't worth it. We didn't need the contract. We were already financially stable, and I didn't want to risk our relationship for a business opportunity that could easily be replaced. But Joe didn't listen. He said it was an important part of the process and that it was crucial for the deal. He left for the trip without me. In that moment, I felt a part of me break. I had trusted Joe with everything, my heart, my life, my love, And here he was choosing Sarah and the business over me. It was like my worst fear had come true. I felt so betrayed, and the worst part was that Joe didn't seem to understand why I was so hurt. I had asked him not to go. I had begged him to prioritize our relationship, but he chose to go anyway. I couldn't believe it. I felt like I was losing him. It was like a huge weight had been lifted off my chest, but instead of feeling relieved, I felt numb. I kept thinking about everything we had built together, the 10 years, the trust, the love. And now, it felt like it was all slipping away. I wondered if I had made a mistake in trusting him. Was I being unreasonable in asking him to stay behind? Was I overreacting? Or had he truly betrayed me? I spent the next few days in a state of emotional turmoil. Part of me wanted to send him a message, something that would show him just how hurt I was. Maybe a picture of my wedding ring with a text that said, "I can't do this anymore." I thought about filing for divorce. I even packed my things a few times, wondering if that was the right move. But another part of me wanted to hold on to the 10 years we had together. I didn't want to give up on us, but I didn't know if I could ever trust him the same way again. I thought about confronting him when he came back, asking him why he didn't take my feelings seriously. But I was scared. What if he didn't understand? What if he defended his decision? What if he told me that the trip was necessary, that Sarah was just being friendly, and that I was the one overreacting? I don't know what to do anymore. I feel lost, confused, and heartbroken. I've tried to focus on the positives in my relationship with Joe, but this situation has made it so hard. So now, Reddit, AITA, for asking Joe not to go on the trip with Sarah? I feel like I've tried to do everything I could to keep the peace and protect our relationship, but I don't know how to move forward from here.